marijuana and meth. And the third one, pills, prescription drugs. So I'm going to throw 3 of them out there that are problems in Putnam County. Thing I'd like to see is again, which I said earlier, to try to stop it is to try to get them in jail. I mean, I've made, again, several marijuana arrests, and before I was done with the paperwork, again, they're out of jail. So why not go out and do it again? I mean, if you're going to get out of jail within just a couple hours after the arrest, you know, they've got to stay in jail. We've got to educate them.
Thank you. And now Mr. Fenwick, would you like the question repeated?
Yes.
All right. What do you think is the biggest drug problem facing Putnam County currently? Which drug, and how do you hope to combat this?
The worst drug, we'll go by that. The worst drug is the meth, because what meth does is so addictive, and it destroys the human body. And in a matter of months, I mean, it kills the victims. And we have combated this problem with aggressive police work, and the prosecutor has really worked real hard on this, and we've reduced that. But the meth is the biggest problem.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, Mr. Tesmer here has basically repeated my concern, albeit in a different way. He says people are locked up and in a couple hours they're out. By revealing what the courts is doing, by revealing what police officers are doing, by revealing the public record, the public is informed and enabled to challenge elected and appointed officers in the discharge of their duties. That tells me there is a credibility problem that is recognized, just not addressed. With me, you will know the problems. You will be informed, and you'll be able to take action as citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tesmer.
No, thank you.
Mr. Fenwick?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Then the next question will come from the League of Women Voters, and Mr. Tesmer, it will go to you first.
What ideas do you have for working with young people in schools, educating them, and developing good relationships so they're less likely to be involved in criminal activities?
Well, in my opening statement, that's what I mentioned, putting a team together. I want to get with our different towns here in Putnam County and the marshals and the police officers there. I want to put a team together to get into every single school in Putnam County, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. With that team, I want to educate the kids. I want to show them what drugs do to you. I want to show what alcohol, drinking, and driving will do to you. We have canine officers. Why not get the canine officers into the schools and show them what a canine will do? Why don't we show them what happens if you try to run from a police officer and you're tased? Why not show them that? That's just some of the things I want to do. I want to hit, my first year, if elected as sheriff, I want to hit every single school in this county with that team to try to educate these kids. I want to have police officers on a daily basis, if they're free, walking through the schools. Because the more comfortable a child is around a police officer, the more likely they are to tell them if something is bad about to happen.
Thank you. Mr. Fenwick?
We already do this. We're in the schools weekly. The South Putnam, North Putnam, and Cloverdale mainly. And we're working with the teachers and the students there already on the drugs. And as far as the canines, we've gone through every school, and a couple of schools already this year with our canines. So we're already doing this.
Thank you. And Mr. Clark?
When I was a trooper, I brought a program to North Putnam High School prom week, teaching students why they should not drink and drive, even when tempted. It is an honor that that program still continues today. That said, I also believe in leadership by example. Our kids look at us every day. They see what we do. They emulate us. Having the sheriff go out and steal $102,000 with his associate does not promote leadership by example and sets the wrong image for kids. We need to be open to bring the record out, show that everybody is accountable. I will continue on with other school programs. My wife is in Girl Scouts, and I will visit with youth leagues, churches, try to set up programs, but I'm only as effective as the community which supports me. I thank you.
Thank you. And do you have a follow-up, Mr. Tesmer?
Yeah, the sheriff saying having that already in place. I don't mean going to do security at a football game or a basketball game. I mean actually getting into schools and walking through the schools while school is in session. That's what I mean.
Thank you. And Mr. Fenwick?
As I stated, we already do this, so.
And Mr. Clark?
Even though we do things still, I do believe there's plenty of room for improvement. We can expand the programs. We can expand the objective of the programs. We can be there just to assist kids when they have problems, someone to talk to. We're not going to be able to get there, though, if they don't trust us, and they won't trust us until we lead by example. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. We will now move on to our next question, which will come from the banner graphic, and Mr. Fenwick will begin answering.
What areas of the county demand the most attention? How will you allocate personnel and resources to different townships and ensure that all areas of the county receive the attention and resources they deserve?
As I stated, we have already done this. When I came in with the help of the county council and the county commissioners, they give me 3 new officers. This enables us to have 3 officers per shift, and we have officers in the north and the south and the central. Normally the supervisor's in the central, but we've already done that. And then on the weekends, I said that we have the reserves that come out, and this gives us a large force. And did you want to know where the biggest problem was? Is that
Yes.
toward the interstate in that area? We have the biggest problem. South would be the biggest problem in the county.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
Yes, I do believe the greatest challenges for law enforcement in Putnam County is south because of the interstate. We're in agreement. I'm in agreement with Steve on this. Yet, if you're in Heritage Lake and you got a developing gang problem and all the police officers can't get to you and you need service, the problem in interstate really isn't that big of a problem to you when you need service. I will work with the community. I will work with the officers. I have found out during my campaigning that the best way to patrol Heritage Lake is with a bicycle. I don't have a problem with putting some officers on bicycles biking around Heritage Lake, taking a look at the community, the outlay. Same way with Van Bipper. I will be creative. I will work with the community after restoring the public trust with hopes that we reduce our crime activity. I thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tesmer?
South, hands down. That's the biggest problem of the county. We spend more time there than anywhere else. With what the sheriff said about having 3 on, 1 north, central, and 1 down in the south, that's great if you can get all 3 officers deputies at the same time working. I can't tell you how many times I was the only one on for the whole county. So there's nothing worse than when you need help and you need backup and you've got somebody that's clear up north or you're the only one on. So terrible feeling to have, but numerous times over and over again, there's 1 deputy on in this county. But yes, south is by far the biggest problem.
Mr. Fenwick, do you have a follow-up?
Well, I've got to address that. There's very seldom, there's never 1 officer on. There's always at least 2, so I don't even know where he's coming up with that. But in Heritage Lake, that's like 8 miles around, so it's impossible to patrol by a bicycle, I believe. But as I stated, we have, most of the time we've got 3 officers on. If we don't, we try to replace that with a reserve officer to assist the other officers. So we've already taken care of this stuff.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
When one says something is impossible, one isn't even inviting consideration. Now, why I said patrol Heritage Lake and bicycle, I campaign in bicycle. Now, I've met a lot of good people, been chased by a few dogs, throw a couple milk bones, talk to people. That's the way police officers learn things, is get out in the community and work. If you're driving by at 40 miles an hour, you're not going to necessarily see that gang symbol over there at the corner of that court. By going up to the doors, talking to the people, when you have their trust and respect, they will answer and they'll talk with you to help solve their problems. Law enforcement is a demanding occupation. We have to learn to walk and chew gum at the same time. While there's problems down on the interstate, there are problems elsewhere throughout this county, to include Van Bibber and other communities. We need to serve those citizens as well as we serve the southern section. I thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tessmer?
Yeah, you're not going to find me on a bicycle riding around Heritage Lake. I'm just not going to do that.
good, Joe.
To go back with what the sheriff said earlier, most of the time, he says, we have 3 deputies on. Most of the time. Numerous times, I've been the only one on for the sheriff's department for the county. The only one. So, most of the time.
Thank you very much. We have run out of time as far as the question portion goes. We'd like to once again thank our viewers and listeners for joining us for this Putnam County Sheriff debate. And we will now go to closing statements. We will go in the same order that we began with. Every candidate will have 2 minutes for their closing comments. And we will start with Mr. Fenwick.
Okay. As I stated earlier, I'm not a politician. I'm a career police officer. I have 29 years of experience, both as a police officer and a jail administrator. Every one of those years have been with the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. Since becoming sheriff, I maintain regular hours and am accessible to the public every day. We've also created new hours from 8 to noon on Saturdays. I would like to continue to be your sheriff, so on November 2nd, I would appreciate your vote. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters, DePaul University, WGRE, and everyone who has assisted this evening with this debate. And I wish the other candidates luck. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Clark.
There's been some laughter about me mentioning the bicycle around Heritage Lake. Well, I lost 22 pounds, and from most of the officers,
You look good.
from the most of the officers I see in this county, they could use a lot of biking around Heritage Lake. They're well-rounded officers, they are. That said, my experiences include, I attended University of Indianapolis. I completed successfully 2 law enforcement academies. I enforced laws in 2 states, 2 countries, had to speak a foreign language while enforcing law in Germany. I have labored to advance truth that government officers had hidden. I've managed to take confidential records, change it into public record, publish it on the internet with copyright protections. I'm always willing to look at new ways, new things. I'm inventive, and I look to be your sheriff if you allow me that trust. I thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Tessmer.
I want to thank WGRE, the Greencastle League of Women Voters, the Banner Graphic, and I also want to thank DePaul for having this tonight. One thing that I want to do is I want to encourage each and every one of you to go under our website, and that is tessmerforsheriff.webs.com. And what I want you to do is I want you to read the mission statement. If you're unable to get on that and you have a Facebook page, go under Joe Tessmer for Sheriff, and you can link over to the website. I want every one of you to read that mission statement, because if I'm elected and 4 years from now I'm back in this spot, I want you to say he did exactly what he said he was going to do. So I want you to go under that, and I want you to read it. There's one thing I will not do. I will not let this county down. I will not embarrass it. We've been embarrassed in the past. We don't need it again. I ask you for your support, and I ask you for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now be taking a short break, but we will be coming back and we will have Tim Bookwalter and Robert Perry, the candidates for the Putnam County prosecutor position. Thank you very much for all of our sheriff candidates.
So I'm gonna go first.